Yeah.
And people will be connecting one by one. So, good evening, dear friends, and welcome to the Russian House Brussels Europe virtual platform for our project of Russian Innovation Night. During this pandemic year, we created this project for presenting the innovative solution that of Russian companies and Russian researchers that have value for medicine, society, and green energy, and the green economy in general. For example, in March, we presented numerous successful cases of the effectiveness of the medical exoskeletons for children and adults, as well as non-medical exoskeletons for workers. In April, for the 16th anniversary of the first manned flight to the space, we talked with the space technology cluster of Skolkovo Innovation Center. It's the biggest innovation center in Russia, Russian Silicon Valley. We talked about them, about the trends in the young space research and young companies and young startups. On June, with the entrepreneurs, farmers, and agricultural legislators from Russia and Europe, we met in the Russian House online platform on the topic Innovative Farming, Experience on Russia and Europe, and so on and so far. Our partner in the Russian Innovation Night are, as I told already, Skolkovo Innovation Center in Moscow, Skolkovo Management School, and our main partner, and I'm happy to welcome them today, is the Russian Trade Representation in Belgium. And today we'll speak about the hydrogen engine for future development. And it's one of the biggest, most important topics on the green energy actually. So I would like to introduce and to pass the floor to Mr. Alexei Kuksov, the acting trade representative of Russia in Belgium.
Thank you very much, Madam Budina, for giving me a floor. Good evening, everyone. So we are happy again to be a supporter of the next event in the frame of Russian Innovation Night, presented and hosted by the Russian Center of Culture and Science in Brussels, and personally by Madame Bunina. This time the topic of our meeting concerns the hydrogen as an engine for future development, as Madame Budina has already said. As far as Belgium is on top of the world trend for commercialization of innovations and the strive for green economy, trade representation of Russia in Belgium and Luxembourg continues to promote here in Belgium Russian companies which contribute to these modern directions of the economic development strategy. We all understand that COVID-19 pandemic continues to exert a severe impact to the world trade. It became a strong challenge to the whole system of the world economic relations. Its negative consequences will continue to influence the economic development of different countries, most probably for a long period. Under such circumstances, the world economy should consolidate their efforts to find out new methods of development. Innovation is the way how to find out new decisions and response to global challenges. We expect that the trade of innovation products and innovation solutions and its contribution to the development of green economy strategy contain a great potential for the development of economic relations between Russia and Belgium, and as well as between Russia and Luxembourg. It could also boost a country's cooperation in other areas. Russian innovative company RT Industrial Ecology presents a very interesting and ready to implement line of products in the field of hydrogen and low carbon technologies and up-to-date corresponding innovative solutions. Thus, I think the company makes its global value contribution to the green economy and decarbonization strategy. Today, Belgium and Luxembourg pay special attention to the issue of green economy, reducing carbon dioxide emissions and negative impact of greenhouse effect to the people's life. In that respect, the development by RT Industrial Ecology Company of the series of innovative projects in the field of hydrogen, extracting CO2 from flue gases, natural gas purification from carbon, and others will also be very interesting for the markets of Belgium and Luxembourg. So, based on the above, I'm confident that the experience, solutions, products, and services provided by this company, RT Industrial Ecology, might be welcomed and demanded by both Belgium and Luxembourg customers. Again, I would like to emphasize that we are happy to support this event of Russian Innovation Night. I wish good presentation to RT Industrial Ecology and useful experience to all the participants. So thank you for your kind attention, and let's move ahead.
Sergey Gennady.
Yes. Please, I will just briefly introduce myself. I am a deputy trade representative in Belgium and Luxembourg, and a representative of Rostec state company of Russia here in Belgium as well. So now I will move ahead our today's event, and I introduce two speakers. The one, as it was declared by Mr. Cook, is Eldar Orudjev. He's a Deputy Director General of company RT Ecological Industrial Ecology, and he will present up-to-date presentation about all the concept and the ready to implement products of their company. And also thank you, Roland Hackett, the Vice President of John Cockrell company, who is responsible also for the issue of hydrogen. After that, we'll ask him to make a brief presentation on this issue as well. So please, Eldar, floors is yours, and do the presentation of the products, the line of products of Industrial Ecology Company, please.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me here. I hope you will be interested in my presentation. So let's move for the first slide.
Please move
Okay.
ahead. Move ahead. Yeah.
So
yes, I still see the first.
The first slide, do you see it? Is it okay?
Yeah, it's okay. The second slide. Yeah.
The second, yes. I need the second. It's just cover up. Yeah. So here we try to present the basic assumption for the basic assumption that we are guided by. We really believe that the new environmental reality and the global energy transition will reduce demand for traditional energy resources. So as a result, it will restrict investment in non-green businesses, and the main areas of change are new energy, green transport, and low carbon or carbon-free technologies. So this will lead to significant increase in demand for cheap and at the same time carbon-free hydrogen and technologies for removing and utilizing SO2. So that is why, the next slide, we as an investment holding, considering new opportunities in global low carbon economy, and decided to single out a new subsidiary, a new SPV, to search for technologies and invest in promising technologies that will be in demand in the new environmental reality. For example, one of the products we are investing in, together with OMS Carbon Group, the largest Russian largest and the world's 8th largest producer for carbon black, we are developing a pyrolysis technology that make it possible to produce raw materials suitable for carbon black production from non-recyclable plastic. The result we have achieved by catalytic pyrolysis are currently the best in the world, from what we know, and it really helps to utilize plastic and produce carbon black from the waste plastic So in addition, we are at different stages of the investment process for technologies for the production of hydrogen from natural gas with SO2 utilization, hydrogen transport infrastructure, and SO2 utilization. In next year, we plan to launch a comprehensive project in Europe for the application of hydrogen technologies in energy company. This project will include hydrogen production plus SO2 utilization by 3 options: hydrogen mobility, electricity generation by an electrochemical generator, and the use of hydrogen mixed with natural gas. The next slide, please. This slide presents the value chain to produce hydrogen from gas, market and value chain. As everybody knows, the production of hydrogen from gas, from natural gas, is the main method of production of hydrogen today. The cheap hydrogen is the main, and the cheap gas is the main factor to produce hydrogen by the steam methane reformer. At the same time, during the production of 1 kilo of hydrogen, about 8.5 kilo of SOG is released. The total capacity of hydrogen production in Europe countries is around 11.5 billion tons per year, or is about 97 million tons of SO2. So that is why, of course, everybody tried to to change the method of production of hydrogen, but still the production of hydrogen from natural gas is the cheapest way to produce hydrogen today. And there is some reasons we believe that producing hydrogen from natural gas will take will still take a lot of amount in new energy reality. The first reason is that for some promising region, the cost of SMR with SO2 utilization will be range from 1.4 to 1.5 dollar per kilogram, and it's one of the cheapest way to produce low carbon hydrogen. The second reason for some applications such as conversion from biogas or biomethane, SMR and pyrolysis of methane is the only meaningful technologies for reducing carbon footprint. So that is why we believe for this application, steam method reformer and pyrolysis could be useful also in new economy. Methane pyrolysis by itself may be the cheapest way to produce hydrogen in comparison with the possible analogies. The third reason, and the last reason is the production of carbon-free hydrogen from gas allows you to bring the place of production closer to the place of consumption. Natural gas is easier and cheaper to transport and store. Gas distribution infrastructure is widespread. So we believe there is some reason to continue consider production hydrogen from gas, good opportunity to invest. So next slide, please. We have several decisions for the market using by these assumptions. The first one is a mobile steam reformer. It allows us to produce hydrogen from 50 actually cubical meters to 1,500 cubical meter per hour. Our solution combines both reformer and steam shifting in one reactor and allows us to achieve impressive efficiency. The compact arrangement of the equipment allows us to use heat recovery efficiently. This solution will make possible to organize local production of small amount of cheap hydrogen near the place of its consumption. Besides, this solution will allow removing infrastructure restrictions for the implementation of transport and other pilot projects using hydrogen, because again, the price for hydrogen is really cheap, around $1.5 per kilogram. This solution is fully ready, and it has been subject to technical audit by 2 players in hydrogen production market. And using this decision, we are trying to start some pilot project here in Russia and then in Europe. The next slide, please. Mineral carbonation transfer. we transfer SO2 into solid bulk materials, used new low carbon products for construction, industrial, and consumer market. We no need to prepare or separate SO2. We have ready-made solution, and the first time we applied this solution in 2008 for accelerated waste disposal, and then adapted for the reverse process. The technology is really simple and low energy consuming. The size of a single unit allows us utilize of up to 20 ton SO2 per hour to form either soda or chalk. The price of the final product corresponds to the market. So it's really interesting and ready to implement solution to reduce SO2 for several cases. So next slide, please. Charging station, we just it's want to present that we want to install several charging stations for hydrogen in Russia next year, and come together with SO2 utilization. And we also have one project in Europe, as I mentioned before, with comprehensive project with producing hydrogen, SO2 utilization, and charging hydrogen buses and trucks. The next slide, please. Methane pyrolysis. This technology is an early stage. We are considering the technology of pyrolysis in molten iron. We actually made R&D, but do not have industrial example of this equipment. Actually, this technology allows us to have the lowest energy consumption for the production of hydrogen. A separate issue is the possibility of obtaining high quality carbon black. And we have agreed with a carbon black producer to deal with carbon extraction and remediation. And we actually believe we can build this technology, we can build this technology, and from 500 and upper hydrogen, 5,000 actually cubic meter per hour and upper. The main issue for us is the consumer of hydrogen. We try to find a company who can replace current hydrogen consumption from steam reformer with carbon-free pyrolysis. At the same time, we are ready to invest independently in the creation of the installation itself. So we actually want to build this this producing example, but we really need to consumer of hydrogen. Actually, that's all. I can also say something about us, who we are. We actually investment company. We have assets under management. It's about 1.5 billion US dollars. Total income from our activities around $2 billion. till now we invest in our target industries is the natural resources, infrastructure projects, and technologies. That's all. I'm happy to answer your questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Eldar. I just want to say a few words about the issue of today's our event. Of course, everything which concerns to hydrogen we can consider as innovation or some innovative technologies. So that is why in this issue, from this point of view, of course, all the activity of your company corresponds to the innovation, this sphere of development of technologies. So later on, you please prepare to answer questions, which probably our audience will ask you. And now I want to give the floor to Roland Hackett, Vice President of John Cockrell Company. And of course, I can mention that the company, John Cockrell, is one of the leading companies in the sphere of hydrogen development in Belgium, maybe not only in Belgium. Please, Roland, floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Petrikov, for the introduction, and thank you, Mr. Orudjev, for this very good introduction to the hydrogen matters. And thank you for inviting me. It's my pleasure to be with you here tonight. So the purpose of my speech tonight is really to talk about large scale. Russia has big plans regarding hydrogen, and so does Rostec. Russia is planning to export 200,000 tons of hydrogen by 2024, and according to my information, 2 million tons by 2035. So those are very massive volumes of hydrogen that will be produced in the next years. Next slide, please. So a few words about John Cockrell. We are 1 to 1.5 billion euro turnover. We're more than 5,000 people worldwide. We've been in business for more than 200 years, and we've been in hydrogen and electrolysis for more than 30 years. Next. We are one of the leaders in the renewable energy sector. First of all, we're one of the world leaders regarding large boilers, the combined cycle for gas, and now including hydrogen. We stepped in solar activity. You can see a solar plant here where we supply the boiler as well as the molten salt loop. That allows us to produce electricity 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And the next picture, you can see the largest industrial pilot in Europe. It's on our headquarters in Belgium, in Liège, with 10,000 square meters of photovoltaic panels and a capacity of 2 megawatts. We're active also in the maintenance of wind turbines and, of course, in hydrogen. Next slide. So we are the #1 in the world in water electrolysis. So for the production of green hydrogen, we've got over 30 years of experience. We've got more than 1,000 references in different sectors, chemicals, fertilizers, ammonia plants, glass making, aeronautics, steel makings, power plants, non-ferrous alloys, mobility, power to gas, cement, etc. We've got the largest electrolyzers in the market, and those large sizes will be necessary in the future. You can see on the truck at the bottom right, you can see a 6 megawatt electrolyzer. which was delivered in the frame of the Winter Olympics next year. That will take place in China. We've got pressurized alkaline technology, which we believe is extremely suitable for renewable electricity sources. We've got a large manufacturing capacity, which is important to be able to feed the future production plants. And we've been investing massively into this technology with more than 100 million euros in the past years, whether it's R&D or manufacturing projects. We can address both production, distribution, and mobility, as it was presented in the previous presentation. Next. Here is a quick glimpse of the value chain. We go all the way from high voltage electricity generation to distribution to the off-takers, whether it's industry, mobility, or power to gas. It includes the electrolyzer itself with a stack where we break the water molecules and generate oxygen and hydrogen. This oxygen can be either vented or reused in several applications, like oxy-combustions, for example, in many industries. Then we've got what we call a separation skid, where we start purifying the gases. Then a purification skid to further purify, we can achieve 99.999% purity for applications in mobility, for example, whether it's cars, buses, trains, or other applications. We dry, and then we've got compressors for most applications, compressors and storage. Next. Pressurized alkaline electrolyzers is, we believe, the solution. It's a very rugged technology, and the fact that we have pressurized hydrogen at the outlet of the electrolyzers is extremely important. Why? First of all, it saves in capex because you need to supply less compressors. Here, when you start from atmospheric pressure, you need 4 stages of compression to reach 32 bars. Of course, we don't need also to have an electricity consumption dedicated to the compressors. That saves about 3.5% of electricity. We've got a very high reactivity to capacity variation request upstream. So, for example, with the wind farm or with photovoltaic panels, there are changes in the power during the day. And this type of electrolyzers perfectly match those variations. We've got a decreased footprint because, of course, we don't need as much room for compressors. Less maintenance. Compressors are always the weak point in this type of plant. And as a result, we've got a much better plant availability. Next. So we can really follow up on the renewable energy sources. The power variations can be up to 5 to 8% of nominal power per second, which is plenty in order to have solar or wind applications. The capex is also extremely low because of large stacks, and we don't have any noble material like platinum or iridium, which is really starting to cause a problem. And we can cover the full power range playing with the number of stacks in our installations. Here you can see a gigawatt facility that we have equipped with hydrogen. Next. Industry will drive a significant demand. Here you've got the 3 largest off-takers of hydrogen. The first one is oil refineries, the largest consumer, followed by ammonia plants, and then in the next decade, steel making, rather than having blast furnaces and coke plants, we will have the making of steel by direct reduction of iron ore. All those applications will require tremendous capacity of hydrogen, and in most places in the world, that will be required without producing CO2. For 1 ton, 1 kilo of hydrogen being produced from natural gas, 10 to 12 kilos of CO2 are generated. So, of course, we want to eliminate this generation because of climate change and other impact on the planet. Next. So for all those applications, we will need large quantities, and those facilities will range between 500 megawatt and 1 gigawatt plants. They will require very large stacks. I introduced already that we have the largest stacks, and we're still moving towards larger stacks. 33 references of those 5 megawatt stacks. On the right-hand side, you can see the largest solar plant, largest hydrogen plant powered with solar power. It's 1 gigawatt. Right now, we are at 110 megawatt hydrogen plant, and we are ramping up towards 500 megawatts. We also developed a very large project, one of the largest in Europe, 75 megawatts with NG. Probably you know this very important energy player, on Carmeuse, the #2 producer of lime in the world. And we will produce e-methane in this facility, combining the green hydrogen with the CO2 that will be extracted from the fumes. On the right bottom side, you can see the site of Jeonjaku, the Olympic Games, that 6 megawatt stack will power 85 buses in the Olympic Village. Next. You can see what 1 gigawatt hydrogen plant could look like. Our aim is to produce 20 megawatt stacks. So we are ramping up. We went from 5 to 6, 6.5. Next step will be 10, and little by little we are working our way towards 20 megawatt stacks. Next. I already introduced this project. This 75 megawatt hydrogen production unit will be able to save 900,000 tons of CO2 emissions in the next 10 years. Next. Mobility is extremely important. Here it's the example of a partnership we have with the 4th largest airport in Europe, or what will be soon the 4th largest airport in freight cargo airport in Europe. It is in Liège, and we are right now in the execution phase. And this mobility station will be able to feed 350 bars for buses and other logistic equipment, and 700 bars for light duty vehicles. Next. Here it's Methanol Productions. This is 2 times 5 megawatt stacks that you can see on the picture, for a total of 10 megawatts with a purity of 99.999%. Next. Largest plant in the world. It's quite impressive, and we believe this is paving the way to much larger plants. And this is this type of plant that we are forcing with the Rostec. There will be plenty of opportunities to build large projects producing high purity hydrogen. Next. Thank you very much for your attention. I am ready for any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you, Roland. Thank you, Eldar. And of course, I would say that this direction of the industrial development is the most advanced at the moment, and it will influence the human being future. Because it corresponds to the green economy, the reduction of the bad influence on the human life totally. And of course, we have we heard a lot of references from Roland, and I want to ask first Eldar. You presented the concept or ready to implement products. Could you please specify the status of readiness of technologies you presented for their implementation? Please, Eldar, a lot of references from the Roland, and we want to hear something interesting references from Russian side, please.
Okay, as I said before, the mobile steam reformer is ready to supply. We have producing example. It worked more than 20,000 hours producing hydrogen. SO2 utilization, carbon mineralized. It's also ready to supply. We built the first example 2008, and the pyrolysis of methane, it's actually R&D complete, but we still try to find the consumption of such not big, but okay, big amount of hydrogen, because of course it's a risky project. We do not have ready to use equipment, but again, we are ready to invest, ready to take risk for this equipment, and we actually only need to consumption of hydrogen. We're ready to take all the risks on us. So that is why we have two decisions ready to supply, one decision ready to build.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Eldar. Vera Georgina, I see some questions to Roland as well. So maybe we just in turn, Eldar and Roland. Now the question to Roland, and it is large-scale water electrolysis not ideally compatible with a nuclear-dominated electrical grid? Roland, it's the question probably to you, because you are in electrolysis, specialized in electrolysis, not in pyrolysis.
It's quite a good question, in the way that renewable power is not available everywhere, and nuclear power, as you know, is not so easy to handle, and so sharp changes of production of energy with nuclear power is not so easy. So the idea there is to be able to run nuclear plants at full power all the time, and when there's excess of power, to be able to produce hydrogen. Will not be completely green, of course, but at least it will be decarbonated hydrogen, and to be able to store that energy, to use it either directly as hydrogen, or to be able then to make to have a power-to-power mechanism through fuel cells to be able to make again some electricity. So in fact, we see that as a very complementary measure to have, of course, renewable power to be able to make decarbonated hydrogen, but also nuclear power, because again, not all parts in the world will have sun or wind or hydroelectricity. So we see nuclear power as a real need. And France, for example, the neighbor to Belgium, is really going into that direction. And I read articles that Russia also will go towards that direction.
Okay, thank you. This is the way how countries should cooperate. Yeah, the good example if all the opportunities will be used in the future. And one more question to Eldar. What are your plans to implement the presented technologies of hydrogen production again to the to the real projects in the future, please?
Okay, yes. For mobile steam reformer, we have two projects here in Russia. One project will produce 200 cubical meter per hour. One project 1,000 cubical meter per hour with SO2 utilization in one case, without in other case. And we are going to build, as I said, one project in Europe, around 5,000 cubical meters per hour. Oh, not 5,000, 500, of course, cubical meters per hour. The next year. So as far as SO2 utilization itself, like mineral carbonation, we still discussing with several potential consumer for this equipment. We are going to build one example here in Russia, around 1 ton per hour for CO2, and one example for Europe. And also we have one project to reform biomethane. We are in the middle of negotiation with one of German producer of biomethane to build steam reformer to reform biomethane and utilize SO2 from the after the steam reformer. So it's several projects next year. And we still believe we will find the consumer for methane pyrolysis. Next year, we are in the middle of the discussion from some consumer for hydrogen to reduce hydrogen from steam reformer and replace it by pyrolysis. But it's an opportunity. We still don't have any agreement about this. We'll try to find.
Okay, Eldar, just to follow, if you find out the consumer of the hydrogen in somewhere in Europe, do you have any projects how to transport, export, or import this hydrogen to the site, to the consumer?
We are going to produce.
This is the question from Elena Medvedeva.
No. We are going to produce it on site, like from natural gas, close to. Because if the consumer produce hydrogen using steam reformer, so it he obviously have methane to reform. So take this method and make a pyrolysis and produce hydrogen and solid carbon, carbon black.
Okay, so this is the production on site, as far
Yes,
as I
on
understand.
site, of course,
Okay.
on site.
If I may maybe add to the answer, just a quick words.
Yeah.
The topic of exporting hydrogen is of course a very, very large topic because the countries where renewable is available or cheap electricity is available, of course, will produce massive quantities of hydrogen that then will be distributed to off-takers. And right now there are three main ways that are looked at. The first one is to make ammonia. So is to, through an Haber-Bosch, to be able to combine hydrogen in order to produce ammonia and then to export that ammonia, because all the technology is very well known to do so. So I would say the industry is ready for that. The ships are already existing, and that will be an easy way to do it. Either the final port to be able to use that ammonia as it is, or to extract the hydrogen from it. The second one is from liquid organic hydrogen carrier, LOHC, where we store the hydrogen in a liquid for transportation, and then at the port of arrival, then we extract the hydrogen from that LOHC. Third one is to liquefy hydrogen and to transport that hydrogen in containers. Liquefied hydrogen is not so easy because the temperature is extremely low. So it's something that will be used, but probably not for long transportation. Otherwise, for small units, regarding, as Eldar was saying, around the point of production, that will be done in trucks in a gaseous form at now it's 200 bars. In the future, everybody's working at 500 bar gas transportation. So roughly those are the different ways to be able to transport hydrogen.
Okay, this is the way to develop technologies. I
Yes.
mean, for transportation of ready-to-use hydrogen. Thank you, Roland. And we have the question from Slobodan. So maybe we'll give the floor to Slobodan if he is ready to ask the question. Vera Georgina.
Yes, just a moment. It's my colleague who should give him the floor. Василий, включите, пожалуйста, дайте слово Слободану. I would like to remind you that we have, you can raise your hand, you can write your question in the
Okay, so maybe something is going wrong with Slobodan. Okay, so another small issue. We have for now two specials from two companies which are involved in hydrogen production, hydrogen technologies, and it is interesting to hear from Eldar maybe or from Roland. Okay, it's maybe from Eldar. How do you think, are there any prospects for cooperation with the John Cockerell company, taking into consideration their level of involvement in the hydrogen issue? Eldar, please. What do you think?
Why not? Because as I said, today producing hydrogen from methane is the cheapest way to produce hydrogen. So it's really easy to build pilot projects to use hydrogen in hydrogen mobility, hydrogen as an energy resource. With cheap hydrogen, before the prices for green electricity will decrease, before the green hydrogen will cost
Yes, something. Eldar disappeared,
New
unfortunately.
technologies sometimes in the evening are not so fast. So we have two questions to raise hands. Slobodan from Serbia and Mr. Alexei Kuksov, the acting trade representative. Who is first? Sergei Gennadievich.
Yeah, let's give the floor to Slobodan.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Dobry вечер. I have a question, and I believe that you will be more than happy to answer it. And my question is, what do you think? What industry will be the driver for a widespread hydrogen economy? Say, there are many industries which are obviously interested in the use of hydrogen, but what do you think? What industry will be the driver for the widespread hydrogen economy? And my second question, if I may, is how will hydrogen be transported in a new global energy trade? Thank you very much.
Roland, as far as I understand, Roland has already answered the second question about the transportation.
The second question is partly answered. Right.
Yeah.
I would appreciate then the answer to the first question.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you very much for the question.
I lost my internet. Sorry.
They will be. So, shall I continue with the question?
Yeah. Of course. Please, Roland.
Yeah. Thank you. Regarding the drivers, there are not so many industrial sectors or of activity which are not involved with hydrogen right now. It's amazing. Conference after conference, we see that the industry, mobility, and the energy sectors are heavily involved. Regarding the industry, clearly the three main players will be refineries. Even if the activity will decrease, it will be slow, so there will still remain the largest off-taker. Ammonia plants, the need for ammonia will grow. First of all, for fertilizers, but also for export. Like I was explaining, answering the previous question. And the third one will be green steel. In Europe, this is a very heavy matter. The CO2 emissions has to be decreased by 30% by 2030. And they have to be carbon neutral by 2050. So the steel companies know they have something to do. And right now, at least 4 very large players are on the verge to build pilot plants to be able to make green steel.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Ken.
Yes, thank you. Of course, it's the energy consumption sectors of economy should be the drivers for the development of hydrogen technologies. It's clear, and it will be in the nearest future. This is my assumption. Vera Georgina, we have passed 1 hour of our event. If you allow, so we can continue, or maybe something, or Alexei Valerievich is also raising hand, please.
You're absolutely allowed, because the discussion is very interesting and we have a very big interest to this topic. I remind you that we are streaming our discussion on the website of Russian House in Brussels with the address rushaus.be, and in our Facebook page, and all the people registered in the event, and you are many people who wanted to attend this event will receive the link to the video of this meeting on our YouTube channel. So, Mr. Alexei Kuksov, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much for giving me the possibility to ask the question. Actually, you have recently mentioned that nuclear power for producing the hydrogen, and if we mention when we mention nuclear power, we always should think about security, and so practically the same thing is with the hydrogen. The one even says that well, the hydrogen has a brilliant future, but nobody knows which future will it be. Maybe all of us will sit on a big bomb. So that's why I just want to ask you, how safe is your technology? This is the question for both to Mr. Hackett and to Mr. Orudjev. And maybe you can give your own vision of the security of, especially if we speak about the transportation and storage of hydrogen. Thank you very much.
Who will start? Roland?
Yeah, thank you. Well, for sure, hydrogen is a very serious topic, so you know, it cannot be taken lightly. However, within the means of energies, I would say almost none of them are incident-free. It's a question of maturity. Hydrogen is not new. When you think about electrolysis, it's been in the market from the 1950s. You had in Scandinavia and in Africa very, very large electrolyzers because the electricity was very, very cheap. SMRs didn't exist at the time, so they were very large capacity electrolyzers at the time. And so the technology is well mastered and we know exactly what to do, so there is no issue. If you take the example of fuel cell cars, for example, they've been around for also a long time without any problem. It's a matter of understanding the technology and being able to master the entire process chain.
Okay, thank you. And Eldar, here is the electrolysis and the pyrolysis. What is the safety issues of pyrolysis? Can you answer the question of Mr. Kuksov, please? No sound. Eldar, no sound, please.
Yes,
okay.
Sorry, yes. Actually, I have one really big problem with hydrogen in my personal previous work. The generator 500 megawatt on the Reptinskaya GRES was exploded because of hydrogen using for cooling the generator, and this generator destroyed the energy station. Of course, hydrogen is extremely difficult gas to use, but again, the production itself, it's quite safety, because a lot of hydrogen producing now by steam reformer, SMR, and a lot of hydrogen using by chemical and oil chemical process. For transportation, actually, the main issue for hydrogen is transportation, because we believe this will the biggest barrier to hydrogen application. So that is why we suggest to decision where you can produce hydrogen closer to consumption of this gas. So we really believe that because actually Russia had very long experience to transportation of liquid hydrogen for the space project, and still the price for transportation for the hydrogen, we believe that this will be the biggest issue. This is will be the biggest barrier for the hydrogen application, not the safety of hydrogen itself.
Okay, thank you. We see the issue of hydrogen is very huge and profound, and a lot of questions which should be resolved during the development of the hydrogen technologies. And we see the two sides of the production of hydrogen. One side is the pyrolysis, another side is the electrolysis, and the two players. Of course, the size of these players could be debated and discussed, of course. And I see this is the good way how to combine the efforts from these two sides to achieve some prospects, some prospective goals for this development of industry. And no doubt that it should be substantial breakthroughs in the technologies to ensure safety, to ensure the complex implementation of this hydrogen in the different industrial directions in different industries. And again, I want to say that this is only the beginning in the middle of this issue of, and both sides, both companies, a lot of companies are involved in this sector of development of technologies, and of course they have some engine to develop it, and the goal to develop is to ensure the green economy as well. So again, thank you very much. And as far as I understand, Vera Georgievna, we have a time limits. Of course, the cooperation will continue both with both companies, and with Roland and Eldar. They are open to continue discussion, and we are closing discussion. And again, I want to say many thanks to the speakers, to Eldar and to Roland. We have a good impression of what is going on in the sphere of hydrogen development. And please, Vera Georgievna, continue.
Yes, thank you so much, Sergei Gennadievich. I would like to thank one more time all the participants of our meeting today, all the intervenants, all the speakers. And we have a really international public today from different countries, from Belgium, from Germany, from France, from Serbia, from Russia, obviously, and another countries. So it's absolutely logical, because the interest towards this serious and important topic is the hydrogen, and the future of the fuel is very big. And we are very happy to co-organize this event on the new innovative technologies and new solutions on the virtual platform of the Russian House in Brussels, Europe. So I repeat one more time that the presentations, the materials of this meeting will be available on our website, rushouse.be, on our YouTube channel, and we'll send the link to the materials to all the participants of our meeting. And yes, we receive thanks on our chat from different participants. Thank you so much as well. And we'll be always very happy to welcome you in the Russian Innovation Night of the Russian House, Brussels, Europe. Thank you so much, and greetings for the end of the year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay in touch.
Thank you very much. Have a nice evening.
Thank you.